All right, so let's try the second example. What's our input here? Negative 5, okay. So this is our input. And so let's work it out this time. We want g of negative 5. And so it's going to be negative 5 squared take away 4. Okay, and so we'll square negative 5. How much is that? So it's 25 take away 4. So g of negative 5 is 21. Okay. All right. Now that's when they give us an input. Look what we have in example number 3. In example number 3, we don't have an input, right? We actually have a output. So in this case, they give us an output. So what we're going to do, we're going to write the equation. What the equation is, 5x minus 1. And that should give us an output of 9. Okay. So when they give us the output, we just, okay, hold on 1 second. Gosh. 1 second. Okay. So in this case, we have to solve the equation. We have to figure out what x is. So that's easy. Let's follow the steps to solve the equation. Add 1. We get 5x equals 10. Divide by 5. So x equals 2. So now we could say, notice this time they didn't use the variable f, they used h. H of what number? 2 equals 9. Yes? No, not right now. All right. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. So now we have f of x, and they give us the output again. They say f of x equals 6. Okay? So we write the output, negative x plus 2. And this time it has to equal how much? 6. So we solve it. Let's solve this. Negative 2 so we'll take away 2 on both sides. We get negative x equals 6 minus 2 is 4. But we have negative x. Write this down. So how do we solve that? Yeah, divide by negative 1, because really we have a negative 1 there. And we get an answer of x equals negative 4. So now we could say f of negative 4, because that's what our input is, equals 6. Okay? All right. So let's practice just a few of these on the other side. Okay? So turn this over to the other side. And they give us four functions: f of x, g of x, h of x, j of x. And they give us certain values for those. Okay, let's try the first one. So our input value is 10 for g. So we're going to use this function g of x. Okay? So this would be negative 3 times, I'm using this function, times 10 plus 1. So let's see, what does that give us? How much do we get? Negative 30 plus 1, and that's negative 29. So g of 10 is negative 29. Okay? Now try the same thing with f of 3. Do that one on your own. F of 3. Work it out. We'll just do A, B, and C, and then we'll try F, G, and H. Okay. So that would give us F is this function, so it's 3 squared plus 7. And 3 squared is how much? 9. 9 plus 7. So we should get 16. So F of 3 is 16. Okay. Let's do H. H is this function here. So let's evaluate that function at negative 2. We're going to find out H of negative 2. So it's this function. It's 12 over whatever x is, which is negative 2. So H of negative 2 is 12 divided by negative 2 is negative 6. Okay? All right. That's enough of those. I think we got the idea. Let's try F, G, and H. You guys ready? Now we want g of x equals 16. Let's find x. So let's go back and figure out which one is g. Here's the output for g, negative 3x plus 1. So negative 3x plus 1 equals 16. And we would have to solve this. So what do we get? What does x turn out to be?
5, negative 5.
Yeah, it's going to be negative 5. If you solved it correctly, you should get negative 5. So that would be g of negative 5 is 16. H of x is negative 2. Well, let's look. H of x is this one. Let's write it down. 12 over x equals negative 2. Ooh, this one's tough. We haven't done something like this in a while. How can we solve this one? Remember proportions? Remember proportions, guys?
No.
Sure you do. Butterflies. How about that? Is it going to help us? Yeah, x times negative 2, that's negative 2x equals 12 times 1 is 12. What does x equal? Negative 6.
So h of negative 6 is equal to negative 2.
So, yeah, let's write that down. I'm going to write it above. h of negative 6 equals negative 2. Yeah, mental math would have worked too. We would have gotten it that way. You could think it through. Okay, that's enough. Let's move on to the last part. I really want to give you guys at least maybe 10 minutes to work. So let's put it all together in a graph. So not all functions are expressed as equations, as we all know. Sometimes we have graphs. So here's a graph of a function g. The equation is not given, but you can still use function notation to express the outputs for various inputs. So instead of writing ordered pairs, we can figure out the various values. So here we go. Bless you. So they're asking us to find g of 0. So 0 is our input or our output. What's 0? Input. If it's in the parentheses, it's an input. So inputs are here on the x side. Look for 0. What's the value for the graph? At 0, where is the graph? At what number? At 3. I know it's very faint, but it goes like this. So it's right there. So g of 0 is 3. Let's do the same thing. Let's find g of 4. G of 4 is right here, and that would be 6. Then let's find g of 6. 1. Oh, okay, this one's a little different. Can you find the x value, in other words, the input, for g of x at 3? At 3. So the output is 3. 0 would work. Any other numbers?
1 and 2.
1 and 2. Take your pick. So you could. It has multiple outputs for, or that output has multiple inputs, basically. We could say 0, 1, 2, etc. Those are good. So try finding this one, f of 6. F of 6. The output is 6. So look for 6, and where do we get an output of 6? 4. F of x is 0. 7. Right here. Okay. What is the domain of the function? What is the domain? Remember, domain is all the possible inputs. From, well, how many possible numbers do we have as inputs? 6 to 12. Let's just write it that way. We'll have a better way of writing it next year, but let's just say 0 through 12. 0 through 12 are all our possible inputs, right? We could have got an input here, 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 here. All of these. 0 to 6. Again, next year we'll have a better way of expressing this. 0 to 6. Okay. So if you're keeping your notebook and you want to paste it in, glue sticks are up in the front.